Thank you for tuning in to my channel. Listen, if you are into information about legacy and how to build or rebuild your legacy, talking about love, if you're dealing with loss and all the things that we deal with as women and adults, this is the channel for you. So today I am going to be kicking off my series about rebuilding my legacy while dealing with love and loss. Y'all, listen, I have been waiting and trying to figure out what this channel was going to be about and how I was going to engage with the community that I want to build. And it just boiled down to, you know what, just take them on the journey with you. Just be authentic and transparent. And those that want this information would join in. No pomp and circumstance. And so I finally kind of got into that comfortable space to feel good about that. So I am so excited. Today, I'm going to share a little bit with you about my journey and evolution of getting here to this space, but also really my first episode, which is going to be about me inheriting my dad's properties. So let's just go ahead and kick it off. So listen, I started the Now and Forever After Estate Legacy Planner as a result of me losing my dad, my rock, last year, May 19th, 2024, and I am still in the grieving process. With that, I inherited some things. I'm his only child. He has 2 grandkids, and so I inherited his estate. However, but my dad did not have his affairs in order. He is old school, baby boomer, and he really just didn't think that it was going to be a big deal. He knew I was his only child. He was not married, and he knew that his siblings would not try to come in and take anything or whatever. And so he just didn't understand all of the ins and outs. He thought if you had a will or something written or verbal yourself, and you had beneficiaries on a life insurance policy that, you're good. And I think a lot of us think that. I actually thought that until having to deal with this. And unfortunately, that is not the case. There is steps and processes that you have to have in place. A will is really only a guide for probate court. If you have property, and your financial matters and things of that nature. So, I've been stuck in probate court now since June 7th, 2024, and it is now November the 9th, 2025. I think I am about to cross the threshold. Thank you, Jesus, and cross over. I think I'm going to be hopefully wrapping up the probate by the end of this year, or definitely by the first of next year. But y'all, it is such an emotionally driven process. It's an antiquated system. It's expensive. And you're spending money, a percentage of the estate that isn't necessary to spend if you actually just do the right things. Okay, so that's kind of what got me there. Through my pain, I found purpose in wanting to help others, to educate others. I created a tool, the Now and Forever After Estate Legacy Planner, which is like a binder to keep all of your important documents. I've done all of the legwork and put all of the information that you need. So at your time, when it's your time, all of your information is in one place for your loved ones. It's really a true act of love for the people that you care about, so that they're not going through this. They're not, even if you have your things in order, the proper trust and powers of attorney, healthcare directives, all of those things, where do we find it? Where is it in your house? The things that I uncovered going through my dad's house, no adult child should have to see that. So they don't want to go through your stuff like that. Just make sure that you have someone identified. So anyway, I talk about that in my first video, actually, and I'll share more about that. But today, I wanted to specifically talk about kind of what I am part of my journey. So in the estate, my dad had 2 properties. One was his primary property, which I'll insert a picture of the front of it. And that's the one that I am very close to because, again, it was his primary property and he passed away in his home. So I'm still very emotionally connected to that house, so much so that when he passed away, I immediately went into let me kind of get it to a point where I can be comfortable being here. I don't live in the same city and state that my dad did. I was born and raised there, but I moved away. And so I knew I would have to come back and forth quite often. So I wanted to be comfortable. Plus, it's something I wanted to do when my dad was alive. He just didn't want me spending my money. So I got a chance to do it anyway. So we have that property. And then there was another property that he rented out rooms and he had tenants. When my dad passed away, they believed that they no longer had to pay rent. So that became a thing. And I ultimately ended up having to take them to court. It took several months. Michigan is a very renter-friendly state. And so it took several months for me to navigate that and get them evicted, which I hated. But unfortunately, I could not carry the burden of them being there. It's an older home, which I'll insert a clip here. So it needs lots of things: roof, window, electrical, things of that nature. And because of that, the utility bills were very high. So in addition to that, the taxes, things of that nature, I couldn't afford to continue to carry that. So I had to go through that process, and eventually, literally just a couple months ago, was able to get them evicted. And so now I have that home. Well, my mother lost her apartment that she was staying in, and I could not have her homeless. So just temporarily, I have her at that property. Now that is a 2-address property, what we call in Michigan a 2-family flat. And so there's a lower level and an upper level. I have my mom in the lower level temporarily. Again, the home does need a lot of work, but it's livable. And so, because they were living there, but there's still a lot to do. So I'm just at the position now, what do I do? I've exhausted all of my financial, all of my funds, my disposable income. I've tapped into everything, trying to carry things over the last year and a half and, keep things up, fix things, renovate things, going back and forth. That's very costly. So I've really exhausted all of my resources, and I'm at a point now where it's becoming very financially difficult for me to even maintain my own where I live, which is a whole nother piece to the puzzle. I moved to North Carolina a few years ago with my 2 sons, and I purchased a property that I have a mortgage on. And I still have that. Recently married in January, and my husband still has his home, which he does not have a mortgage on. So we're just trying to now condense everything, move, sell the home that I'm in, and then we're going to move to his home. I kept my current home, and we didn't do that right away because I have a son that's graduating, and I wanted to keep him in the same school district. So it just made sense to keep this home until June of 2026 at least, so we can get him through high school before he goes off to college. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to figure all out, what do I do? Do I try to keep the 2-family flat, try to pull together some resources and funds and get that fixed up so that my mom can have a place, even though financially it's very burdensome. And I would have to take out a loan, which I really don't want to do because, again, we're trying to consolidate here where we are, and I have a son going off to college. So I need my resources for those things. So yeah, I don't know. Have you guys gone through anything like this? Have you had to liquidate? Have you dealt with the states and, had to figure it out? What did you do? Am I missing some resources out there? I'm not sure, but I know that my goal is to rebuild. I won't lose. I'm not going to lose what my dad worked hard to sustain for me and his grandsons ultimately. So just trying to figure that out. I know that I probably made some knee-jerk decisions that I shouldn't have made. And it's just that I don't know any better. I never lost a parent and had to go through this, which again is why it's important to have your affairs in order. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure that out and not drown in the meantime. Because listen, y'all, we doing day to day here at this point because of all of the resources and things that I've had to, put into in Michigan. So that's kind of where we're at. I know in the midst of everything that's going on in the world, this is not the worst thing that I could be dealing with, but it's a very challenging thing. And I want to make sure that I do for my sons what my dad did for me with having my affairs in order, which I've done. My husband and I immediately ran and made sure that we put our estate in place and in order. And I will be walking you guys through that in another episode. So it's so important, guys, especially with me having minor children, real estate, vehicles, things of that nature. You can't make any assumptions, and it's not fair to leave that burden on your family. Or everything that you've worked for ends up getting stuck in probate and left there because they don't have the resources or means to maneuver. And like I said, it's a very antiquated, slow, financially burdensome process. So if you can avoid it, by all means avoid it. I am blessed because I did not have any other heirs to contend with. So from that standpoint, I would say I'm blessed because I was able to kind of get in. I did all of the research on my own, Googled, phone a friend, the Wayne County or the city of Detroit, I'm not sure, whatever the probate is through there, had great videos. So I, would watch those videos. I would YouTube. I did all of that, and I was able to get through it, which is really good. Up until one of the creditors, the owner of the building my dad leased for his business, sued my dad's estate, which is what's held up the estate all this time. Because really and truly, I did pretty much everything and could have closed on his estate probably last August had it not been for this lawsuit. So it's just important to understand all of those ins and outs and making sure that you have things in order for the people that you love. Also, leave in the comments if you've gone through this, if you have any pointers for me. I'm going to be sharing my journey, working with real estate agents, whether it's here or there, rebuilding, remodeling, all of that, all of the things. And so I'm excited to take you all on that journey with me. And I'm excited. Like, this is giving me a new lease. It's kind of therapeutic in a way. So even if, a couple of people watch this, including my husband and family, I feel like this is my journal to my journey to rebuilding lost love and legacy. So thank you for listening. Thank you for, checking this out. If you find that it's beneficial in some form and you would like to continue on this journey with me, make sure that you like and subscribe and even share. All right, Legacy Planners, talk to you soon.